Confections.
All right. Welcome to Texas Tea. This is actually number 2 or 3, just depends on which one posts first. But I am here with the amazing Madam President, Kim Brock Brown. I'm gonna hoop it up myself because she had the time and she waited on me today because I've been busting from work to get here through traffic. And we're talking about right now we're talking about her stories with eating when she went to Abu Dhabi. And I just feel like with being Madam President, I think they always have to bring you the best of the best. I know, I just feel like um I know when I ate with you at the restaurant and the guy was like, we're here with the American Culinary Federation president. Everything just kind of amped up. It was just kind of like boop boop. It was like little teardrops of sweat. It was like, oh, okay, okay. Now we're gonna bring out the whole kitchen. And right now. And I was just like, oh yeah, I have never felt this amazing. I have never felt this popular in my life where I have had power. And I mean, I've hung around people who have black cards or whatever, but you don't even need a black card when you are the American Culinary Federation president. Y'all, she is the first female, the first black female. I think that is amazing. And I met her when she was just getting ACF amazing things. She was just like, I'm going to these conferences. I'm like, I do qualify for this. I do qualify for that. And then it was like she was preaching girl magic for El Centro at the time. Now it's Dallas College. And Gus and put us all together. And we was at her hotel. And I say all this because I met her in rare form. She is a jewel. I will say that, get to give you your flowers now. When I met you and we didn't know each other, and she slid me her hotel number and room number. We came up there, and this girl had food before the president. She was the president. She had platters and platters and platters and platters. She was already the president to the Hyatt. They had all that food, and she was like, "Y'all just eating. Y'all know I wasn't exercise. I was exercising, but I wasn't doing that much then, so I was turning it up. So I was turning it up. I really was turning it up. But then to see 6 months later, she's telling me she's going to be the president, and I see it on, and I'm just like, what? Like it was just like a dream come true to see, especially with being a black woman in a white male dominated industry, to see you up there and rocking it. It I think it's just amazing, and to hear your stories and to see your travels. I am just like always loving, looking, liking, loving, like dang, and just like you just told me your schedule of this week is bananas. Bananas. So we were talking before we got started. We want to say some good stuff here. We want to talk about veganism, and she said it's a thing. It is now. You're saying it is the next new thing. It is here to stay. It's here to stay.
It's not a trend. It is here to stay. There are so many people, and I believe it's two generations that really drive it. It's the older generation and it's the younger. The older generation, because they want to be healthy and they want to be able to thrive in their older age, right? Because
Mhm.
everybody in that age group has realized food is what's going to help you get to where you want to be,
Right.
right? If you're not eating right, fueling your body. A lot of us didn't realize that. We just started eating the fast food and the junk food and whatever,
Right.
every kind of carb on your plate, and not eating the vegetables and getting your protein right. But the older generation has figured it out. The younger generation, because they're more health conscious, because they're more about saving the planet, the earth, the sustainability, the veganism all falls into that realm. And so I would rather not kill Daisy the cow and Charlotte the pig or whatever, and let them live and let me eat the vegetables, whatever, and sustain myself that way, because they have figured out that you don't have to eat the flesh to get the proteins that you need or to get the vitamins and minerals that
You
you need.
do. You do. I just feel like
Well,
I see you get the younger community.
They don't want to have to. And I remember my pastry chef when I was in my apprenticeship program, and after I graduated, it was the first vegetarian that I was around. And his thing was, if it had a face, he wouldn't eat it. And so veganism takes it to that next step. If it's produced from anything that has a face, they're not eating it, because he would eat an egg, and he would eat honey.
I
but a
get that.
vegan person will not eat the egg, and sure enough, is not going to eat the honey either. So that
And he
difference
would
in
eat
that
their
line
cheese
where
because cheese technically is not killing anything. Getting milk is not killing anything.
well, it's the same thing with an egg. A chicken will
And
give
that's
you
what
the
I'm saying.
egg,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get that whole.
but it's life, right? And so I'm not going. A
I
vegan is not going to eat it.
I feel like this. My problem. Okay, I am that middle. I'm not the young and I'm not the old. I'm that middle. That's like, show me the beef. I feel like I love vegetables. I will always eat vegetables.
Yeah, me too.
I can do it all. I can live off veggies. I just don't want to. But I was gonna say this. Only part I don't like about vegan is because they will manipulate things scientifically, and that's not healthy, and I
The
feel like
GMOs. Yeah, see, I can eat my. Like you're saying, I can eat vegetables too. But I'm not into the raw. I'm not doing that all day. I just can't
right,
do that.
it's like raw is one of those things I can get. I can do a cool gazpacho real quick, and then I can let it go.
Yeah, but I mean, a meal or a soup, whatever. But to do that for your diet 24/7,
Oh
no. And I
no.
know
Oh,
people who have
oh
done that
no.
or who are doing that now. And so I like butter and I like seasonings of different types, and I still am into my veggie broth, my stock, whatever. But I
Yeah.
can still eat it with a vegetable, and I don't have to have the meat on my plate. But I like stock, the broth, whatever, because I haven't found a veggie broth to be as satisfying or sustainable for me and my taste
Well,
buds.
yeah, and I tried,
Just have that.
and I tried one that I read that I charred the uh the vegetables. Now that did bring us a better flavor because I did do the competition when I did the vegan competition uh at the Chef Fest. I did get out there and I had to make everything from vegan and I kept stopping like
Mhm.
and then but I did make I said, well, let me look up how to roast and they roasted they made a vegetable stock but made it in the same way they make a beef stock. So they roasted the vegetables, put the tomato paste to extract some whatever it can extract from there. But they
Mhm.
still put tomato paste on it. They made a darker sauce, and it was good. My greens were, I will say this, were amazing without the meat. I will say that
No,
I
I mean,
will eat it.
I do greens all the time without meat. I can do that.
Yeah, I can
But
do that. But
but
I feel
but
like, but that's because we know how to. I just feel like what I feel like is vegan is everything is made from scratch. It's not a scientific thing. Some things that they manipulate, like if you go to make cheese and it's like got 30,000 ingredients in it, and it's
I
like none of that's
know.
real. I'm
And,
like,
and,
just
and
just
all
cut
these
it.
man-made. It's
Right. I
when
don't
it's when
need it.
I want a bean to be a bean. I
Right.
want a green to be a green. I don't want
Right. And I feel like that's the
don't
problem
try
is
to
people
don't give me a hamburger that's
right.
got beet juice in it to simulate
I,
blood in the burger.
yeah, I
I
went
don't
to
want that.
California to one of the top vegan spots, and I ate one of the burgers, and I threw up because it was so many products in it. It was
The
processed,
process.
and my body is not used to processed food, so it immediately. I mean, it was immediate. I felt so bad because I waited in that long line, and I threw it up. And because it
Oh,
was so processed, and I tell my friends that if you're going to go vegan, but you want to eat shrimp and grits and all this other stuff, and your mindset has to change to eat natural vegetables. And I told him,
hmm
if you're gonna eat manipulated food, you could just have do the chili cheese Frito diet and eat the chili cheese Fritos because they're not dipping those chips in chili and cheese. They're manipulated.
no.
You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like
Yep.
that's what gets me with vegan is because people have gotten to the point where they're making it unhealthy because you're putting
I
all
agree.
these
I
products.
agree. It's
Where
the
if you,
processing because
yeah,
I remember even at the NRA show in Chicago, the Restaurant Association show,
uh huh,
and the theme was vegan foods and plant based whatever.
mm-hmm,
And we were sitting there looking at it. It's so many more now than it was say before COVID,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
These manufacturers and
mm-hmm.
products have kind of sprung up. And
Because it's a
and
way. Because for them, it's
taste
a
this chicken
way.
tender, and I broke the chicken tender in half, and it looks like the loofah sponge, right? It looked like it really did, and the texture is really
I'm
spongy.
telling
I
you,
can't eat
I
that.
am telling you. And
It,
and sadly, is I went to a restaurant, a top vegan restaurant, and
hmm
I talked to the chef, and we were talking, and he was not even vegan. He was on the wave. It was a top restaurant, and no joke, he was still using beef stock because he was like you. He was saying his thing was he couldn't find a stock that he couldn't make a vegetable stock that could. He's tried all vegetables that could not
Yeah.
give him that flavor. And I said, but that's meat. And he's like, no, but technically I don't use any meat. I just, it's a stock. I just use the bones. And I'm like, but but it's a fad for him. He's not vegan, so it's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's just kind of like, but I
If
know when
someone's vegan and they knew he was using the bones, they would have a fit.
they would have a fit. But he only told me because I was a chef. He only told me because I was a chef. He wouldn't have said it if I wasn't. I don't think if he saw my credentials and saw I was just a regular person, he would be like,
Uh-huh.
Tiff, he would have said it's vegan. So I feel like that is a big thing of mine. But I know when you went are you seeing it more when you go on these tours around the country?
Oh yeah, so we actually there are competitions coming up. The
Oh,
first
okay.
one actually starts. It's this year. So we actually ACF we have a vegan competitor going down to Chile later on this year to compete in the first annual, or first I should say biannual, because every other year will be the competition for a vegan competition. And so that person will have to produce, I think it's an appetizer or a soup or salad, the entree. There's no, I don't think there's a dessert. I don't think there was a
Now,
dessert.
if
I
it's
think
is it a competition? Will there ever be a cert for like a vegan? Like, do you think that there'll ever be a? Because I mean, I'm a chef, but I don't do that. I don't. You ask me for vegan food, I'm like, I'll send you to a vegan chef, but that's not. It's not because
it's,
it's so.
it's
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 just like
growing. It is growing. I can tell you also. I know it's not gonna do anything but get bigger and better. Because
I
Abu
know.
Dhabi had that theme, had plant based and sustainability for their theme too, right? It's global, and we have one of the people running for WAX, World Chefs Association, for their national, for the
Look
international
at knowing all
presidency.
these big old. I mean, I know
Female,
society
first
too, but
time ever,
uh-huh.
and she's vegan. It ain't going nowhere.
I just feel like,
She,
girl. I mean, it ain't going nowhere, but for this girl, I don't care if they tell me tomorrow you can't eat no more beef.
well,
I'm
it's
thinking it's
fine.
like,
You can have both, and I think that's the
I mean,
key
I
to
can cook,
balance.
and don't get me wrong, I can cook it. I don't have a problem with people who eat it. I don't have a
Mhm.
problem with going to vegan restaurants and trying, but a lot of the stuff it's nothing that has been like, I gotta put this in my diet. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing that has been like that. As of today, there may be a chef that comes out there and be like, Tiff, I'm gonna blow you out the water. And I'm be like, okay, because I just feel like I don't like jackfruit and a lot of them use jackfruit. There's a lot of things I don't like. And so that's what they use. And I'm just like,
Right.
I ain't a fan.
Yeah. I'm not the big tofu
I mean,
fan,
but
but
so
I'll eat it every now and then. I love my vegetables, and if you can give me some more ways to do something with cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, oh, okay. But I'm still thinking vegetarian because I'm still gonna use an egg to bind or whatever, or honey to sweeten.
that's what I'm saying. I can be that vegetarian, I can do that all day. As long as we got a little bit of fat, we got a little bit of we got a little bit, look, I can, I just feel like Charlotte's Web book was a way of passage. We, Wilbur, okay, he
Yeah,
made it.
yeah,
Some of them
yeah.
make it and some of them don't, but
I just think there's going to be a place for it. I don't think it's going to go away. It's definitely not going to replace meat eaters and carnivores or pescatarian people who just eat, no red meat, just white meat, quote unquote, whatever.
yeah, I'm
I
not with
think it's
those
going to be
people
right up
either.
there because for a while, it was hard for people just like, well, you mean you don't eat red meat? That was weird too when it first started.
Yeah, it was,
You never
and
heard
I
that
think that
either.
people don't know. Like I was talking to someone yesterday about it. She was saying how she doesn't eat pork.
Hmm.
I mean, well, one of my other podcasts I did with one of my other friends, that she was saying she didn't do pork, and I think some people have a misconception about pork because that's why I told them people always say that swine eats anything. If you ever been to a chicken coop, they eat anything. Okay,
Okay.
they
Well,
literally do.
for some people, it's a religious thing.
That is a
You know,
religious thing, and I
and
get
I
it, and I
understand
get it,
that.
and I get it.
Some people they just decided to think about the pork being so dirty, back in the day when it was with the trichinosis, blah blah, and worms everywhere, and blah blah blah. Blah. That's why people
But
cook
a
pork and
loin, but a
pork
loin,
they.
a pork loin is just as lean as a chicken breast.
I
You know what
know.
I'm saying? People don't get that. I feel like now, now you can't eat it every day, but I feel like it's always a balance. Even me being a trainer, it's always a balance. I want these people to
Variety.
stop jacking these kids up. I'm so sorry, my thing is going off because somebody grandma done stolen somebody's kid. I just feel like that I think that with being a chef, we kind of know those things. Like, you can still eat healthy and eat everything. I think
Yes,
it's all
yes.
in moderation, and it's if you don't buy processed things.
I think
Every that.
I think our one of our tasks is to make sure we keep educating the public, our guests, our customer, right? From everything to what proper techniques and proper way to serve things, what classics are, what's the new thing to do, and how you're doing it, and and what's why somebody was asking me why can't I get I want a fruit platter, but I want it with raspberries and blue. I said this is not the berry time of the year. Berries come out in the spring. This
Right.
is winter.
Right
Your
now you
fruit's
got some
going to be
orange. You got some oranges right now. Some oranges,
it's orange, apple,
orange
pear.
apple. You know what I'm saying?
Even
Yeah.
that, you might get some grapes in there, but why can't I get? I said, well, you could probably get it, and it's going to cost you more, and the flavor probably won't be there because
Yeah.
it's coming from another country. Probably it's out of season here, so you have to pay for that to come here.
Yeah. And
You
so,
don't understand why.
but I think that
So
people don't
it's the
know that.
education process that we as chefs, I think, really have to do
And
with
I
our
think
customers.
and I do that all the time. I just told somebody that I was like, "Look, I went to the store and in which it really is a cranberry season still." But I just told them, "Look,
Mhm.
you're looking for watermelon and stuff like that. You're gonna get it. You're gonna pay a higher price. It's not gonna be sweet. You're gonna right now. You're gonna get oranges because oranges are a winter fruit. People think it's a
Mhm.
summer fruit. It's not. It's right
Mhm.
behind apples. And I said you're gonna get those things, pomegranates, those things, all that other stuff. It's wrap.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's why I said this is that time where they're getting it. It's over expensive. We're getting it from all over. So I
That
mean,
and flavor's not there.
yeah, the flavor is not there at all. I don't care if you
Not
get it
there.
from Argentina. By
I
the
mean,
time we
it's amazing. People want chocolate dipped strawberries for Valentine's, but the strawberries, it's not strawberry season.
and if
So
you look
you
at
you
them
just
now,
don't
they're
pay
so
for them.
small, and you're paying for them because they're coming from all over. They're
Yeah.
coming from So that's why I try not to do chocolate covered strawberries for anybody, but people want it, so we have to do what people want. But I
Okay.
think the most amazing question is, I don't think we ever talked about this at all. I think I was so happy to celebrate. And I know you just a go getter. Like she'd be like, oh, when I met her, you had just said you signed up to be an ace, and you were like, I looked and I was like, I fit the credentials. So I'm gonna be an ace. I could be an ace. So how did you figure out you want to become the president?
Oh my God. So see if I can make this story a little shorter. So it was never on my bucket list to become president. I became vice president for the Southeast region
Yeah.
first. And even that wasn't on my bucket list. There was a meeting, we went to the convention. It was in Phoenix that year. And I just came away from it just like, this has just got to, it's the same old as far as, well, in my point of view, the lack of women in leadership
Yeah.
positions, the lack of anything for pastries as a certified pastry chef wants more pastry so I can learn more things and see more things and relate to my customers and my job better. And I just wanted the women, the pastries, people of color. I wanted to see all three of those, which is me, right? And
Yeah.
I just came away from that. Well, I didn't come away. I was still there at the convention trying to figure out and say because it was an election year, nominations had opened. Somebody needs to run for office. This is ridiculous if we keep getting the same old, same old. And it was just there was a women's group that got together, and I remember being there's like 40, 50 of us in the room, and a couple of
Uh-huh.
guys came in too. And we were just upset that they were asking us and taking surveys. We were getting, take this test, take this quiz, fill this out, and they were going to compile all the information and then present it to the board of directors in their October meeting. And I'm like, well, hold up. Yesterday at the general session, you know, six white guys got up and nominated six white guys. And so here we
Oh
are,
yeah.
women. Y'all, talking about organizing, getting together, but it's still going on where they came here already organized and they came here ready to go. And we still talking about we're going to present something to get approval to go.
Right.
This
Right.
is just like that isn't striking me. And I'm sitting around there looking around in the hotel, at the lobby, at the events and stuff, trying to figure out who could run. And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't see the person. I knew it had to be somebody, and I wasn't even about the qualification. I just was figuring out the names. It would have to be somebody that people knew already, and the rest I thought would kind of fall in line. And so on that way home, I like, well, doggone, I should run. I have the credentials. I have this, not even knowing what I need to have to run. I had to look it up, and I had all that. I said, well, I need to get somebody to nominate me, and I did, and that's what happened. And
Oh, okay.
so once I won, the next question people asked me almost immediately. So you're gonna be president? You're gonna run for president? Like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't know the rules of engagement. I didn't know the rules that were required. Because at the time to be able to run
Mhm.
president, you had to be on the national board. Well, I
Mhm.
had made it to the national board as Southeast Regional Vice President, and people immediately assumed I was going to then go run for president. But it wouldn't even have thought in my head. I mean, I hadn't thought that far. I had no clue, you know. But then when my second term came, got reelected, and the questions started coming more and more. Are you going to run? Are you going to run? So all this time, those 3 years or so, I sat back and I listened to all the guys around the tables, around our board table, talking and talking and plotting and planning, which is how people do, right? They
Right.
just plot and plan.
Yeah.
You gonna run? I'm gonna run for this, and they kind of like just kind of rotated seats, right?
Yeah.
And being the only female in the room, the only elected female, only elected person of
Mhm.
color.
Mhm.
I'm just sitting there listening, taking it all in, and trying to figure it out. And so when it came down, you gonna run because if you're not running, then I'm gonna support this person. And I had to think about it. I said, well, how am I gonna sit here and mentor other people and tell them when opportunities come, you take advantage of it and figure it out? Or if I don't take advantage of this opportunity because I'm on the board and I am eligible to run, I already have the credentials. I already know that now. And so I can't do nothing but win or lose. Let's go.
Right. Right.
And that's what.
And you
That
won.
was it.
And you won. And you
And
won.
I
And you won.
won.
And you won. And
And I
I'm just like, I think I felt like it was bigger than me. To me, it was, and my friends didn't understand because they're not chefs or they're not in the industry. They didn't understand why I was like, oh my God, I'm telling everybody, oh my God, we got the first black woman. And they were like, okay. And I said, I think it was more of a tearful event for me because I know what it takes like to work in the industry. To me, it was bigger than Obama, and I'm so sorry. It was bigger because this is a male dominant industry, And
yeah.
we had that. I spoke on. I did a video for her for the women. It was a women alliance chef for women alliance, and I think it's even for a black woman, it's even more. It's like a glass ceiling on glass ceiling, and so to see you do that and Morehead has only been, and I love the federation, but it's only been older white men. I think even
Well,
with
see,
the
but that
age,
that also, and that also is on us because
yeah,
if you don't know what you need to know to get to that table, that's on you, right? I
yeah.
had to figure it out, right? And not on you personally,
I'm
but
not gonna get
th-
no, but
there are
yeah,
women presidents, and to be a chapter president, that's the next step, So what? I'm too busy. I'm busy too, but you always find time to do what you really want to
and I
do.
think that was when we first met. That one thing that you said to me was, uh, what y'all gonna do? And I was just like, what? At that point in time, I was just kind of like, well, I mean, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna teach, I'm gonna, whatever. And you were like, listen to this. And that's when you told us, hey, I'm sitting in here with these people thinking like how things are going to be changed. And we in here joking around, and I really had the credentials. And so,
Hmm.
so a lot of times we are sitting and saying that necessarily that we are oppressed, and we're just not looking at the criteria. And we meet our criteria. We can make those changes instead of plotting to
Yeah.
plan to do. We can do today, and that's what brought me here. This year, this past year with everything with the teachings, with all that kind of stuff, this was the first year I did not plan anything. I did not plan. Usually I have a board because I'm definitely Virgo OCD with boards and planning, and we gotta do this and no, this gonna go first. And then I'm so deep in my plan, I'm not letting God blossom his little blossoms that he's giving me. I'm not letting them really blossom, the little seeds. I'm just kind of like, okay, I see that, God, but I gotta get to this plan. I want to get this. And this is the first
Mhm.
year that I didn't come with a goal. And well, even no, last year, even 2022, I didn't come with anything. I just kind of was like, I'm tired of planning and nothing's getting accomplished. Let me just kind of follow on the building blocks that God has given me. And then I started looking at, oh, okay, you know what? Why don't I do this? I'm too old to work in the industry, um, work on the line. Teaching is cool, but it don't pay a lot. Let's be real. And then it's like, oh, well, let me do my cooking classes and do the way I want them to be done. And then I found, and it's like everything started falling in place. And then I came, and then he contacted me, the producer, and said that and we really and said, I want, do you want to do a podcast? And the old team to be like, let me plot and plan this. Let me think about it. This not really what I'm trying to do right now. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why not do one for eating and bringing my kitchen and being in people's kitchens, cooking, doing what I love, and then also talking to them and getting their tea and what they do. So I do believe that what you're saying is totally true. And you told us that years ago when I was still in that plan of let me start doing this. And if it don't work out right, and it's because life happens whether, when it's for you, it's for you.
Yeah.
When it's not, it's not. Just like seeing you with this, it just you fit amazingly into the role. And I think that more people were scared because not just because it was, I think more so not even because of a color, more because of a woman of our industry, more so of a pastry chef. You know what I'm
And
saying?
so before me, there have been two other women who have been in position to become national president.
Uh-huh.
One actually, because of the way the rules were when she was on the board as the Western Regional Vice President. Then the vice presidents rotated between treasurer, secretary, blah, blah, blah. And eventually they rotated into the office of president. And so by the time it was her turn to rotate in, they changed, of course, they changed the rules. She was
Hmm.
never ever national president.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Never.
That's what I said. It's not with culinary, I
Yeah.
won't say it's just a black, it was a skin tone thing. It was more so with me of a woman. It's
Right.
because it's like in a pastry chef. You know what I'm saying? People don't look at that because now I'm telling you, by maybe in my 20s, and he
Yeah.
asked me about being a pastry chef. I've been like, boy, please, I do more than make cupcakes. Scram. I'm so offended. I know if Alice Hodges never heard it, they're gonna be like, girl, what? We do
Okay.
way more.
Okay.
We do way more than that. But I think
Cupcake.
that
I don't do cupcakes.
but I
But
do
anyway,
cupcakes. And but
okay.
exactly.
And then the second person, female, she didn't take advantage of what she did her vice president thing,
Uh-huh.
and she left the board. She never ran for anything else. And so I realized, like I said, there's opportunity sitting there on the table. Am I gonna play? Am I gonna walk away?
And I think, and you know what? And you could have just said, "Hey, I got the over Charlotte. That's enough. I'm out." And I think that's what's dope about it because I try to tell everybody. I'm like, I think I called everybody in my phone that was willing to listen. Like, hey, this is the first black. This is and I posted it on Facebook because I feel like it's phenomenal because I take it back to my last podcast when we were talking about that I did last week. We were talking about my grandparents. My grandmother was a chef. She worked at the county cook's office, judge's office for 30 years, and she was never awarded a chef because of the color of her skin. They wasn't just handing it out, but that was her job. And that's why I said I want to be my ancestors' um
Mm.
dream. I want to be what they are. I wanted to be what they do. And then to see you do this and knowing my hard days in the kitchen, it makes all of that magical. Like, there can be the ceiling can be broken if you take the chance to let it be
Yeah.
broken. You know what I'm saying? To see you out here doing all this all over the world, and it's so funny because you're like the only female in some of these things.
Yeah.
When I
Oh,
look at these
but
pictures,
that's been my norm. That's been my norm for years.
yeah, when I
The
see you in
only
the pictures,
female,
I'm like, ain't
or
no
the only
other
black
chicks. Where
person.
the other chicks? Where they at? You know what I'm saying? Like, where they at? I
I
just
don't know.
uh,
And it's even when I was in culinary school at El Centro, it was the class was still
oh
majority
yeah,
female.
the classroom for culinary for women chefs, it is probably in our class, it's probably
Yeah.
20 males and probably like 4 females. And in the
Oh,
kitchen is
see,
even. I mean, when I was in school, that's what it was. It was like, and it was so
uh,
funny. You have the enthusiast lady who's just rich and want to come learn some little things, some little cute things, and you have the person like me who this is it. We finna change your careers. We finna get back to what we love, and then you have the other person that's just kind of learning. So
mhm.
it's different types of women that are sitting in those seats, and then men. I'm finna be executive chef. I'm finna run the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? They have it
Yeah.
laser beamed in that thing. So, what is one of the highlights you have with being the president?
It was truly a moment of pride and joy for me when I was in Abu Dhabi representing the American Culinary Federation, and it was time to vote. Right during at the convention, all the chapter in
Hmm.
different countries, their presidents were there to represent. And it was
Hmm.
time to vote on business, and
Okay.
to hold up my paddle with my American flag on it and vote for
Uh-huh.
the American Culinary Federation. That's for me. I was like, oh my god,
I'm
it was
like,
just, and to sit
can
back
I
and say,
take a selfie right now? Please hold on and wait. Let
that
me
that was
take a
like, oh my
picture.
god, you see all these paddles go up with different flags from different nations on it, and here I am holding up, the American flag for USA.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, that's pretty
that's
dope.
the thing.
I thought you would have said the world championships. I thought you said the world championships when you went in there because I don't people don't know that culinary is that big. It's like it's big. Like it's world championships. They
Yeah.
do the Olympics. They do all of it where they compete against all
Yeah,
the
well, there's
countries
a
around the
team over
world.
now in Lyon, Lyon, France, competing now for the Bocuse d'Or. I
Yeah.
mean, I believe the catering team already won gold 2 days ago.
Which
I
one?
think it's in Lyon, the Bocuse
Uh huh.
d'Or competition. The American team, they already won for catering, the catering competition, which is, I think, three-course meals
Uh huh.
for how many people they have to serve it for. I mean, it's like maybe 50 people that you have to produce the food for. And I think the dessert pastry part, I think, is going on now. I think you
Hmm.
find out tomorrow who won, whatever the deal is for that one. But the Olympics are right around the corner. It's next week, next year, February, in Stuttgart, Germany. And yeah, our team and I will be right there cheering them on.
Uh huh. No, my thing is that my thing is that I think it's just dope that people don't know what all this. And I tell my students like, oh my God, it is like championship. I'm like, yes, it is people competing all year, practicing all
Yeah.
year for America to go over there and compete against all these amazing chefs all around the world. And when it was so funny because the World Soccer uh championship was going, the World Cup was going on, and then we would have and I'm posting other things, but you posting, I'm reposting where you're at because you get to see the chefs competing right there, and I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
and people like, wait a minute, and then I post on my page, people started seeing it, and I was just like, I think it is dope that people get to that people don't get to see that side of culinary. I don't think they see
Oh,
that
I know.
side.
I agree. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new world
Yeah.
to see other people how they cook, and especially when they're cooking with foods that they have. We don't have the same kind of vegetables here that's over in, say, in Turkey, or that's over in
Yeah, because
Bulgaria. I
everything
mean,
grows
the
different.
vegetables
Yeah,
totally different.
and my friend went to one of my friends, one of my former students went to Japan to learn how to do sushi. He wanted to be a chef over
Mhm.
there, and he said, man, for a year to a year and a half, almost 2 years, all he did was make rice. All he made was sushi rice. They kept throwing it down. He said, I literally touched no protein, no nothing, just rice. And people don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like it is serious. Cooking is serious business,
Yes.
and I think that in
Yes.
America, as I was talking about my first podcast, is TikTok has took it out of context. And so people out here just making anything and they're calling themselves chefs. And I think that people get mad when you say things I used to get mad about it, really upset. And not because I feel like I'm hardy toity, but I feel like it's like a sorority or a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's deeper than that. Like, when you work on a line, you don't understand what it feels like, just blood, sweat, and tears in that, or you're telling a
Mhm.
story in that dish. I'm just not producing something for pictures. I am telling a story. I always tell people that I'm telling a story. So I just feel like when I see somebody making some poo-poo stuff, jalapeno
Because some people
peppers.
use food because they want to be famous.
Yeah,
Other people who are chefs use food to feed people
right. And
because
you
they
know what I'm saying?
love
There's
it.
a difference, and that's why I tell people all the time. I tell anybody that I'm teaching, when you go into the culinary industry, you don't do it for money, you do it for love.
Hmm.
Cause
Passion
you know what I'm saying?
gotta
You do
be
it for
there.
passion.
Gotta be
And I
great.
feel like to see a smile on someone's face, or it's like the other day when I sat at home and I was doing it to be petty, but I just said it. But I made a dish that someone else had made, and I just but I got home and got the pasta maker going, got made the dough for the pot, but got the ice cream making first because that takes the longest. It has to
Hmm.
sit in the refrigerator. So
Hmm.
I make the ice
Yeah,
cream,
yeah.
then I make the pasta. Then I go and make the blondies. Then I go make then I go make all the pieces to put it together. Then I gotta make the candy, the drum, and to sit there, it was like I was on a high. Like I ain't been on like a food high. I was in it was euphoria. I couldn't even describe how I felt that night. And I was just like, I ain't did this in a long time. It was just straight 3 hours of cook.
Yeah.
3 hours. I timed myself. I looked, I was like, oh shoot. It's 3 hours, but really, if I had forgot about making the pasta, I had the pasta sitting there. I had to make the pasta out. So I just feel like, to me, can't nobody take that. That was a feeling I had on the line. I don't think that that's how I know what I love. That I love to do what I do because it's just like it's something that you feel it. And now people are doing it just to make money, and it's very
Yeah.
hurtful to see what they produce. And you like, I need you to go to culinary school. I need you to go. It
Yeah,
matters.
so you could kill somebody
You
out there. I
cook it
mean, what
right,
we do is healing, or
right.
you kill somebody. And in this day and age, when I see people who are just the stars and wanting to do this and that, and I just think about the cross contamination that they just did, or that they didn't put the glove on when they put the food on that
Oh
plate
yeah,
and
you know what I'm
served
saying?
that.
Yeah, and when you see them and they ain't wash their hands, they don't. And that's why I try to tell people when you look at stuff like Alton Brown and stuff like that. But he actually showed you they had like 50 people back there prep cooks.
Yeah.
So I used to be one of them that making the little food, and they
Hmm.
look at it and see which plate they really want to use. But these new people are cooking, no gloves. They are cross contaminating. They got salad stuff here. They got lobster right here. I'm so sick of seeing lobster on TikTok. I could just throw up. It's
Yeah.
other seafood. It's other things out there. I feel like that. I'm so happy that food has grown where it's popular. But I do not. I am at the point of my career where I'm just like some people. I just want to write go to school, like just go get certified. You know what I'm saying? Like go understand. And it's so funny because when you talk to people and you say, "Hey," and they say I'm a chef, and like, "Oh my God, where'd you go to school? Where you train? What did you do? What did you do?" And then you just ask like chef comments, and you say, "Oh, when you do this, and you do this," so I know my friend, who got the James Beard Award this year, dope, and they're like, "What James Beard? What is?" And it's just kind of like they don't understand any
Yeah.
culinary lingo, and it's
Yeah.
like. And that's why I told my friend, she's like, I always get mad when you go out to eat because I put like this. Good food is good food. I don't care if you a chef or whatever. If you can put some good food out there, I'm with it. But at the same time, it's stuff that I know that ain't right. I was at a restaurant and I saw a girl, the waiters, everybody had on different color shoes. One of them had on dirty shoes. One of them had like a little scrunchy that was kind of dirty, little peanut. And I was just like, no, I can't do this here. And they was just like, why? I said, because waiters are the eyes of the restaurant. They're visual. That's all you can see. You can't see the chef in the back. You can't, when the
Mhm.
plate comes out, yes, but when you see the chef, no. Like the way, but what they look like tells me what the back is working with. You know what I'm saying? Just off
Yeah.
the
It's a
muscle.
representation of the business.
Right.
Period.
People don't understand. People don't understand that it's big, but
It's the whole thing. It's the
yeah,
whole
and when people
concept.
put on that coat, it's like, oh, I'm a chef now. It's like, no, you're not. You're not.
Take
You
it a step further. I'm a master chef.
right,
What?
chef, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. They like, I'm a master chef, or
Yeah.
they
What?
call themselves master chef and all this, and all they can do is like Cajun seasoned pasta, but they can't even make pasta or make a real vodka sauce. They're just putting some stuff together. I just be
Okay.
like, okay, and it's just so funny because I when I go places, I went out to a networking place, and this girl was like, "Oh, she's a chef, and she had this little bohemian look about herself." And I was like, "Nah, she ain't no
Mhm.
chef." I told my friend, I said, "She ain't no chef," and she was like, "Yeah, she is," and I was like, "Nah." And then she was like, "Yeah," and I said, we walk over, and I was like, "Yeah, you go to chef?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm a chef." She's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Like she's like, I cater. I'm over the food at the airport, girl. No, that's what I'm saying. I was just like, okay, that's cool. I don't say anything
Yeah.
any mean or anything like that. But I gave my friend that look, and she was like, "How do you know?" Because a lot of times chefs are not out there trying to be famous. They just, they just out here doing they do. They not. You don't have to keep saying it. Everybody knows. When you're off, you're off. When you're
Yeah.
on, you're
Yeah.
on. That's why I tell people at home, like, are you cooking amazing dishes at home? Like, no. At home, I'm eating a bowl of Cheerios. I am chilling. I am chilling. I can freak out a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
just feel
Well,
like
yeah,
it does.
I made some white chocolate bread pudding because I know I'm taking it with me to give it to some people, some friends
Oh,
of mine when I get to Atlanta.
yeah.
But otherwise, am I cooking that at the house every day? No, because then
No.
who eating that? I'm
Who
not eating
eat that?
that,
That's
girl.
what I'm saying. Wait, okay. When I was making a meal and I was being petty, I got through cooking the meal and I was like, who's gonna eat this? I have
Okay, see.
not a single human to eat this. Like, I think, but I'm not a baker, but I do love baking. I took in culinary school, I took eliminated doughs and
Okay.
competition baking. I don't really fool with chocolate, but I'm trying to make myself be more chocolate conscious. Like I did a class on how to make chocolate candy.
Mm-hmm.
And caramel. Like I can make caramel. I love making candy, but chocolate was one of those things like it's messy. I feel like to me it's
Really?
messy. To me, I feel like it's messy because I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I can make. I can. I was so happy that I tempered it right where it stuck onto the candy and made the chocolate caramel candies. But
Okay.
but when you get to stuff like bums and I just don't have the patience. And now that I'm old, I can now
Well,
I can.
that Ganache recipe would have been great. So,
We're gonna do it. We
there's
still
some,
gonna do it. We still gonna do it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
am.
yeah. So
We're still
semi,
gonna do it. But I just said that.
I like a bittersweet chocolate, but that's just me. So,
Yeah,
the
I
higher,
like I worked with converter. I got some converter chocolate. I got some Calibu, and I used some. You know who had some good converter chocolate was Aldi. No shade. I felt
couverture, couverture.
good. See, I don't know what to call
There
it.
you go,
I've never
couverture.
called it that.
So
I
yeah,
have never called that couverture.
couverture.
Couverture, I
Mhm.
love 50, 70, 60% couverture.
Yeah. So the higher the percentage,
Yeah,
the more
that's what I
stronger,
want. I like it.
pure
But
cocoa it is.
Aldi had 74%, which is very good for $2. And I went and bought all of it.
That damn good.
And it was very good because that's what I used for my
Yes.
candies because my Calibu came it was 50. It was only
Yeah.
50%,
That's a
59.
semi-sweet.
Yeah.
That's a semi-sweet. That's like,
Yeah,
that's
it
too
was
much
like
sugar.
55. I got it from Amazon, but it was the cheapest price. I couldn't find.
Because because the lower the percentage is, the less
Yeah.
cacao you're getting into it. So you're getting more sugar than you're getting the chocolate
Yeah.
flavor.
And so, but yeah, but the other one I made, it was perfect. It did a great job with making the
Hmm.
candies. And I was
Hmm.
like, you know what, maybe. And I'm an ice cream maker. Like ice cream, I can freak it out all day because I like sauces. I want to be a saucier, so I can make
Yeah.
sauces all day. So ice cream, I made the bourbon butter cream yesterday, butter pecan ice cream when I was at home being petty. And I was like, you know what? My niece was like, why don't you sell it? I was like, girl, because I ain't no baker, and I tell people that. And it's so funny when you say you're a chef, people always come in with, oh, can you make a cake? Like, that's not what I said, yo. Not what I said. That's not what I said. I just said I was a chef. Like, if you
But
want,
see, I get the opposite way. People forget that I do know how to cook because
yeah,
I am a certified pastry chef.
yeah,
But I went to culinary school, so I've always cooked. But because my job has been, for like those 20 years, whatever, as a certified pastry chef, executive pastry chef for this hotel, that hotel,
hmm,
whatever. But I have always cooked, and so you cater, yeah, I cater. You cook, yeah, I cook.
I don't
So
cater. Don't ask me. I'm telling you right now on the podcast. Do not ask me. I can't go past 12 people. That's it. And that's 12 is pushing. I learned that was not my ministry years ago. So people always say, "Do you cater?" No. But I do, like you said, I don't know how to I can pretty much make almost all baking. When we get to the special topics, I'm not talking about that. But that's why I tell people baking is when they get to special topics, take me out. But I can rock with everything I can do. I can rock with most of the stuff, make croissants, all of that. Um, I just don't like the time it takes to make it. And I
yeah.
never know how to charge myself for what I'm doing.
So that is key.
That you know
You
what I'm
know,
saying? I think with baking, I don't know how to, I just spent this long making croissants, or I just spent this, like I can wake up in the morning and just make it and just knock it out or whatever, just if I have the mood, like I did with the
mhm.
ice cream, making the drunken cherries, the blondies, the whipped cream, all that takes no time, but it doesn't make me mad, but I just feel like, how do I charge for that? You know what I'm saying? Or how do I?
Well, yeah, you also consider the skill. So,
Yeah,
and as you do more,
yeah,
the more you do it, the better you get it. The
yeah,
skill level increases, right? So, yeah, you pay for my time, but you also pay for my expertise, right? And so if I know that when I first started off, it took me 2 hours to do this, now I got it down to an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so that's a skill level right there.
right. Now, if I can knock
So,
that dinner down to, if I can knock that whole dinner down an hour 20 and a half, then something's fake.
oh, sure,
Something's
sure.
fake. I'm gonna say something's fake. Something I bought from the store. But I mean, I get what you're saying. But that's how it was. When I get to my ice cream base, takes no time to make. Now it takes me like maybe 10 to 15 minutes. I already have it. I know the ratio in my head. All I gotta do is add whatever I'm
Right,
switching it up
right.
to. So I got it now. But at the same time, it's like if I make something like croissants, I'm looking at. I have been playing with this dough for 3 hours. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Or four. Because it's no skipping in there.
No, it's
So
not.
I'm
That thing gonna have to rest. You
right, it's
got
right
to
there.
get those foot
Refold,
folds in there.
yeah.
You got, oh my God, yeah,
And
girl.
that's why I said baking, uh-uh. That is
Hmm.
not me. I will not do it. I will not do it because culinary is just, it can be so quick and it can be so many steps can be.
Well,
ma-
as if we say in the bake shop, baking and pastry is a science and cooking is a hobby. And that's why we call them
Don't
formulas,
be doing
recipes.
us like that. First of
That's
all,
why we call them formulas,
well, I mean,
because
baking, but wait a
it
minute,
gets.
baking is, it's all chemistry and it is a science, and I always teach that because we can
Mhm,
make. I can give everybody the same cookie recipe, and I promise you, we will have very different results.
exactly.
Very different results, and I
If that
always,
sugar's not right, you put the salt with this and that. Well,
and
oh
then,
my
but
gosh.
and then when you increase the recipe, when you in baking, you may not need to add that much salt. You know what I'm saying? You have to think about you. I always, and that's what I always tell people who are necessarily didn't go to culinary school, and there's nothing wrong with the hard knocks. But when you
No.
don't know the function of eggs, the function of sugar, the function of flour, when you don't know, or the
Hard
flat,
flour, soft
yeah,
flour,
that's saying
cake
hard flour.
flour,
You're trying to say
English
the
flour.
flour, the protein percentage in the flour. When you don't know all that stuff, the, you cannot manipulate. You can't really make anything. And I'm sorry to the home bakers, but you can. When you don't understand what you're dealing with, it's a whole different ball game in baking. You can't play with baking like that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what is it? One more time. What was that?
Couverture?
Couverture. If you don't know couverture, if you're out here buying semi chocolate, I mean, I know how to say it, but I know how to buy it. If you don't know how to, or getting the white chocolate, knowing which one to get, the one, if the higher cocoa butter, if you don't know that,
Mhm.
if you don't even know, it's a ratio. You know what I'm saying? It's, and knowing how to make cakes, how to balance them, and because that's why I tell them real cakes are not that sweet because you're adding the ice into it. It needs to be. I can tell if it's a
Yeah.
back cakes off the muscle because it's so sweet. It can't,
Hmm.
too much sugar. It can't hold a lot of icing. People just don't know. It's a lot of things that I think that when we say that certification matters, a lot of people get the idea that, oh, they just want money. No, it matters to know what you're doing. If this is an art, it's just like a painter. It's just,
It's a checklist for your competencies. You check
yeah.
this off. I know how to do that. I did that. Check that off the list. You check me on that one. I did it. I did it. I did it proficiently, or I did it very well. And so
Hmm.
it's a checklist. If you think about it that way, just like you do sometimes in your class, or maybe when you're working out, your competency. So today I know I can get through the 50 pounds, blah blah blah, 10 reps. Check it off the
You
list.
know what? But that's the thing. One thing that one of the chefs that I work with that he
Hmm.
always says is you have to get your reps in, and that's even and he's talking about culinary. You got to get your reps in. You got to make your sauces. You just can't make a bechamel sauce one time and that's it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just make croissants one time and that's it, and now you're a master at it. No, you have to.
No.
I can tell you because mine have came out weird a couple times, and and you just. I think that that's the thing that if I could tell anybody who wants to be a chef is go to school. And anybody who asks me about barbecue or anything like that, I'm like, you need to go to school because you need to understand the fire, the science of it, the principle, the convection, the conduction, whatever's
Hey,
going on with it.
barbecue in Texas is not the same as barbecue in South Carolina. And even in South Carolina, if you're in the upstate in Greenville area, it's a different type of barbecue than down here in the low country on the coast.
Well,
It's
low country
barbecue.
is his own food, period. Low
Mm-hmm.
country
I
is his
agree.
own thing. And now that
Yep.
is getting way bigger. Low country is getting way big. It's getting
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really big. So I've seen in a lot of places, I've seen a lot of chefs that they're showing with low country, or people who are chefs that say they only do low country and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff there.
Yeah.
So what I mean, so I know the elections are up now. So when is the next time for us to be able to vote?
Okay, so campaigning is now. The voting for ACF members happens, I believe it's April 26th, and it usually is like about 10 days. So I believe I want to say the cutoff is that second Monday in May. So April 26th, all eligible members in good standing will receive their ballots, and then we vote
AKA
electronically.
let me pay my dues because they just went
Yeah,
out last
okay,
month.
and
They
I
just went
think
out.
there's a cutoff date for that in March.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Um,
gonna pay for mine right now. Mine just went out right at the end of this month.
okay, yeah, and so any ACF member, I think a member in good standing, I want to say by mid-March, I don't know the date off the top of my head, is when they pull it, and that's the roster. That's how many ballots
Okay.
get sent out. So
Okay.
whoever's a member in whatever that date is in March, that's who gets their ballots electronically.
Okay. Cause yeah, I was like, I seen that I got the email in my thing and I was like, okay, I need to make sure I stay active to get everything going, and and do
Please
and
do.
compete more and compete more and compete more to do. I
Mm-hmm.
think this is the
No,
year.
because we have a competition. So like I said, we are sending ACF is sending so even breaking it down farther. So we have a North American continental director. And actually he's based in Miami, Harry. And so to get to WAX, World Chefs Association, which is in Singapore 2024, for the cooking competition, those competitions are competing now to represent the Americas or Italy or Northern Europe, whatever, whatever. So
Mhm.
our competition for North America takes place in Chile this March,
I
April,
wait,
no
are
May.
y'all
So May.
sponsoring people? Cause I can cook, but are we gonna do it? Can I cook via like this and get on a team? Like I just
You
feel
know,
like,
and so usually we cook. Well, since the vegan one is a new one, so we're just starting that one. But
mhm.
usually the student competition, the person for that one is one who represents for the on the World Chef stage. But that's an age limit also. So sometimes
Oh
our
yeah, I'm too
students, our
old.
students are not. Yeah, you got to be under 25.
Oh yeah, I ain't seen 25 in like
Right.
15
And so,
years.
but then also again, there's other competitions. So chef of the year, pay chef of the year. That's something else we have to consider and think about. That we send that person who's eligible to compete, in a professional level, for the Americas, and then for the opportunity to represent North America going into the World Chefs competition. So we do have, I think, a student chef. I believe he's out of New York, and we have a vegan chef to start the vegan competition going down. And then somebody else is going to, I forgot what the other competition was, but they will go to Chile to represent ACF. And then hopefully, if they win, or when they win, they will represent the North Americas. And then they get to go to Singapore in 2024 to represent and cook and compete on the world stage. So
Okay.
competition and cooking it doesn't stop.
So
Doesn't
what?
stop.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I tell people all the time. It's always something going on, foodie. Now, what is a typical day looks like for you? Like for being a president of ACM, what does it look like? Like what does it look
I
like for
don't
you?
have a typical day. So, like I said, I'm traveling this weekend. I go to Atlanta. The Atlanta chapter is having their annual gala, giving out their chapter awards.
Hmm.
Come home. I have a virtual board meeting on Monday scheduled. And then I'm going to leave out on Tuesday, drive up to Charlotte, 3 hour drive, because they're having their meetup in Charlotte, and they're doing, I think, our chef of the year, who serves in the Coast Guard,
Hmm.
first female ever chef of the year, is doing a
Hmm.
demonstration for them for competitions actually in Charlotte. So I wanted to be
Hmm.
there for that. Come back, and then because I'm a boot camp alum from the James Beard Foundation,
Uh-huh.
James Beard is hosting a
Ooh.
session in Houston. So I leave on Sunday, going to that for 3 days. And also because I am the recipient of the honorary doctorate from NAFM, the National North American Association of Food Equipment and Manufacturing.
Boom.
Their convention is in Orlando, so then I leave from Houston, go to Orlando, and I'm their guest there for those 3 days, and then come home and then get to work. I got work.
Wait,
I
what?
got
Wait,
to
what?
do.
Wait, what work? Look, that talk about
Doing
jet
this
lag.
to keep these lights on and pays the internet.
Yeah,
Work. That's
I'm just saying, but I mean, jet lag. Like, how do you? I mean, I know you make my day. I get up at 4 in the morning and I go work out, teach, then come home. Not today. I came straight from work here, do the podcast. Like, how? Like yesterday, I didn't have nothing. This is my first day. Was yesterday. I had nothing to do.
hmm
How do you get to that? Doing that whole week of going here, 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 then coming home and just
I have to be organized.
yeah.
I have a calendar on my phone. I have the calendar on the computer. I have a calendar, and I write stuff down, right?
Mhm.
And so I was going over my list today, making sure because I will be going to Mobile, Alabama to that chapter in February, and then I will go up to Pittsburgh to that chapter in March, and then I got to go to Fort Lee for their military competitions. Then I got our next board meeting in March, and I'm looking at my calendar and what I can do when, where, making, because I also have to do my schedules, If I'm not making the reservations, then they're making the reservations for me. And then, like I said, between I gotta get work in there somewhere, But I have to be organized. And so I have a speech to prepare for this. I got a speech to prepare for that. I got to do
Right,
this
that's what
interview.
I'm saying.
This
All the
one.
things that you have, all the things, and I think that it's dope that you got to be me. And and I will say this: when I told Chef Kim, I said I already have somebody I want to do for my first show. I said, but I want you to be in my show. But I know you're all over the world because at that time period, she was just getting home from what was it? Wasn't Abu Dhabi? It had to been from did you go
Maybe it was
there?
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg. Yeah, she came from
Yeah,
Luxembourg with the competitions, and that was what the World Cup. What was that one? What was that one called?
Luxembourg. Oh, yeah. Well, Luxembourg was what is that called? No, it's what is it called? The World Expo, Expo Gas. It is it's like the preliminaries that most competition people use it for the warm ups to see and
Okay.
test where they are before they
And,
get
and,
to
and
the
it
Olympics.
was like what 25 countries representing. It was a lot.
Yeah,
It was
for the
yeah. It
high
was
school
like for the most part, it
competition,
was like
there were
25. And
there were
so
16 teams for high food, but there are more teams that compete because we didn't compete in all the categories for all
yeah,
the
I saw
foods.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I looked at us and I was like, why do we compete in all these other categories? But that's neither
you
here nor
gotta have.
there.
It takes money. It
I
takes
do,
money.
okay, because I know, because you counted me out when you said Chile. I was like, I thought y'all was having one in sunny South Dallas. Then I could do that one.
Well,
But
because I was asked to host the North American thing, and it was just too much to do. I was asked, like, say, I don't know, late fall, early
uh-huh.
winter, to pull it off for May. I'm like, I can't do that. We can't move like that, And then, like,
Right.
where, who, how, and then ooh. To bring the foreign people in, this, oh my God, I don't even
Oh
want to deal
yeah,
with
just
that.
to get them over here, it would be just a nightmare.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah, and especially
it's Canada, and it's all of our Latin countries in the South, and woo. But just getting that part of it, I don't even have to deal with that. So I like, no, we can't do that. You just
so
can't.
will
It,
we
it
ever
takes
be able
us.
to see a contest that'll be housed here, or it's just like it's too hard because they've already had their stuff is already put it back over there?
Yeah, so we won't be hosting anything here internationally. I
Okay.
don't see that happening anytime
Okay.
in the next 2 years.
Okay.
But like I said, so to get to Singapore at 24, they're competing now to represent in May 23, right? So
Okay.
whoever wins May 23 goes to Singapore in 24. The Olympic team, that team is already set. So
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
go,
that should even be already set.
yeah, it's
So
already set. The same team that was in Luxembourg will be the
that's what I
same team
thought. Yeah.
that
Okay.
goes to Stuttgart, Germany in February of 24. So that team is set. But then right after that, though, the competition for the next team will be on, and it's open. Who's going to be on the next team? For, I guess that'd be 28, 24, yeah, 28. So who is that? What does that look like? And so that's the competition to go. So all of our competitions really are based off of ACF and our national conventions in between all that.
Okay.
And so, like,
So
this year we're doing it different, where instead of, because we don't have regional conferences anymore, we're doing a one-time competition, which is
okay.
in March in
Okay.
Kansas City.
Okay.
And so whoever wants to be chef of the year, educator of the year, all the cooking stuff,
Uh-huh.
student chef of the year, student pastry chef, they go to Kansas City,
Okay.
and the top four scores, just the top four scores, no matter where they're from, then get the opportunity to compete against each other at our national convention in New Orleans.
Okay. So and that the national competition, so um the student of the year, can it be a high school student or can it be or do you
No,
need
it's
to
not. It's not high school. It's college.
college? Okay. Okay.
College.
Just
Mhm.
asking, just asking for my kids, just asking for my kids.
Mhm. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just asking to throw a little window out there. But I just
Hey man, I appreciate that.
I'm always trying to
Yeah.
bring something for the kids,
And,
I
and
just
I wouldn't have a problem opening it up to high school kids to do that, because I've seen some high school programs. And we have a couple of good programs here. But I just, but from
yeah,
going
and
through.
those definitely those vocational schools in like New York, upstate, those kids are there all day.
Oh well, no, they're not all day so much here, but we have had some national winner from Pro Start in two different
Oh yeah,
schools here
we've
in
had
Charlotte. Yeah.
Texas had it national for a couple years, rock with
Right,
Rockwall,
right.
and
So
they've all had them here, and my baby's on the World Food Championship. We were 0.10 from getting in that final, that super finals that in March. So, and it's just phenomenal to see that these kids can kick it with these with these adult
yes,
chefs, and and these are we beat when we looked at we were number 11 and they out of the top 10, and we both had the same score. They were just their raw score was just they got picked because they had a little bit more. We were kind of done early and we didn't know
Hmm.
that from our first competition. And so we beat like I think 3 grand champions. And so I told them, hey, y'all, look, we are we may not make the super finals, but we did that. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that is great, but I do want to compete more. I do want to say I think the Chef Fresh competition was definitely rigged, okay? Because everybody loved my food and I kept getting the tokens. Just want to put that out there for the media. It's over
Hmm.
now. It's
Hmm.
over
Yeah.
now. But with that vegan food we made, that unity meat, unly meat, but I just feel like your schedule is just ever, and I think that I'm so happy that after I asked you, you were like, I'll do whenever, and that's what I love about her is that she is just like whatever, and I just mainly have like 100 people listening, but we blessing the
We
God
all
that there be
start. We
more.
all start
It
somewhere.
has
It's
to
not
still
about that. It's
start, but I'm
about,
just happy
about
that
supporting another queen. Whatever I can do,
right,
I'm here.
right. And that's what I love about it. She is the true meaning of sprinkling black magic. And I think that that's what we have to do, especially in the sisterhood of a place where the brotherhood is men. I would see a man, like I told you in a restaurant, it was always male executive chefs. The woman executive chef was always pastry. And if you're a woman, they automatically say, "Oh, you're a pastry chef, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm your lead sous chef. Like, but I'm your lead
Yeah.
saucier. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? I don't know nothing about.
I'm your
Don't
expo.
see me
I'm
over
in the
there."
middle. I'm in the past. I'm not the pastry and garmager.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Pastry and garment is what they put you with. I don't care. When I said I'm a sous chef, you're like, oh no, you and don't have no little ump and bump to your look. Don't have no little glamorous to you. They definitely put you over there on garment in there. They just don't
Yeah.
trust you if you
I know.
look
I
like that.
know.
So I think that
Oh,
you have
this
definitely
jacket is not for the kitchen work. Trust and believe. I understand.
yeah, you try to come in there like this chef coat you have on right now that is amazing. People when they see you, they like, oh, okay, where you going? And
No,
I just remember I had big
when I
pretty
had the opportunity to do something different in my role as president, like, okay, I can be girly. I like sparkly things.
uh-huh.
Let's switch it up and let's do something different. I love color, so
Mhm.
I do have this one. For this one, I didn't even specify the colors. I do have I had an all black one first,
Mhm.
so I got that one. I said, I know I need a white jacket, so I paid for that one. And got the all white one with the nice little silver, brocade buttons on it. It looks sharp too.
Uh-huh.
And then that's it. So I need this one actually. They got it for me for convention last year. So yeah, and
I feel like in New
give me some color,
Orleans
give me some sparkles, whatever.
I
And
feel like
this
New
one,
Orleans, they should give you something sparkly. I feel like they should give you something Mardi Gras sparkly.
oh, I
You,
told them Mardi Gras it's on. You could
the,
I want to see the Mardi Gras colors. They got carte blanche. They know because they
I'm
got
gonna
the
go
black
now.
and the
Look, now I don't go to a lot of the conferences, but I'm going to that one. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that
oh
I'm
yeah,
not,
all right.
because usually I'm kind of busy around that time. But I'm gonna make sure I'm not busy at that time.
Okay.
But yeah, but chefs like now I get those joggers and all they have. Chef clothes have really came a long way. They're very expensive, the nice ones, but yeah,
Yeah.
but they have came a long way, and I like the look of them in restaurants. I know traditionally it's still the black pants, the white shirt, or the all black. I get it, but I love that you can be funky in the kitchen. I bought me
Oh
some
yeah.
I bought me some Van chef shoes the other day. I mean, like, and I was like, oh, these are so dope. I was like, these are cute and
No, I
dope.
like sparkles on my shoe. When I get to convention, my shoes are glitter. I'm sparkling stickers on my
Right.
shoes,
I
girl.
feel like, but I don't got no sparkly chef shoes. I'm gonna have to give me some sparkly chef shoes. I'm gonna have to go
Well,
up in the
no,
game.
they're not chef shoes. I would never wear those in the kitchen.
Oh no,
They just
no,
regular.
we can't wear them in the kitchen. But I'm saying, but yeah, like me, I wore those. I have those purple. I have purple. I have pink. I have all those kind of pants that we've been wearing in the kitchen. I mean, I'm still gonna. When I'm in public, I'm gonna look my best. So
That's what. Oh, yes,
yeah,
of course.
I want to
Gotta
represent.
represent.
I want to. Yeah, it's no more dusty, dirty shirts chefs anymore. So let's get
Mm-mm.
to the Texas tea. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
If you could cook for anybody, who would it be?
I would love to cook for my daddy,
Okay.
who died when I was 16.
Okay.
So he does not know anything about this.
Oh, that is so sweet. What would you cook for him?
My God, I think my father was the first person I ever saw eat red meat medium rare, and so
Mhm.
I would definitely do lamb chops and
Oh.
mashed potatoes and a nice little rosemary demi something like that to go on top of it, and whatever the vegetable it didn't matter, but I think I would do that.
Okay. Okay. So if I gave you $2,
Hmm.
what would you make out of that $2? You can't add nothing. What could you make out of $2? What could you make for $2? Your last $2.
My last two
$2.
dollars.
Yes.
I would go borrow a couple of sugar packs from the coffee shop, and I'll make me some caramel sauce or something.
Okay.
Caramelize
Okay.
some sugar
Yeah, that's
and
a
throw some bananas in there,
okay.
and girl,
Cause that's not that much. Make caramel ain't that much money. People think it is. It ain't. It ain't. You can
no,
find
it's
one.
not.
You can find one of them
No,
cream.
I did that last year. Me and the girls who got together, and they had no clue about how to make caramel sauce. So, oh yeah,
What?
and I made some for them. They're still talking about it, mind blown. But that's all it is: sugar, and some cream.
I mean, if you ain't have no money, you can go get it. I'm pretty sure you can get some creamer off the sugar
Oh,
packet off the
okay.
table. Get some creamer.
See,
You know what I'm
see.
saying? Make it off there. So, what is one chef tool that you can't live without? That you gotta have. That you use.
You know what? A serrated French knife.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would
And
say that for
if
for a
it's not the
baker.
French knife, then a serrated slicer. Gotta have it.
Okay, you
So
gotta
good.
have it. Okay, I wouldn't have thought about that. Mine is always a fish spatula because it's good for
Mhm,
picking up everything, desserts, whatever. Those
mhm,
little. When I pick up my candy, when I make them, if I'm making a caramel cage, I'm
mhm.
rough and manly, so I just break up in my hands. So I just
It's
scoop
funny
'em up.
because when I was in the bake shop all the time, and my toolbox is there, of course, but the three tools I would always take out, and when I'm ready to go to the table to work, to the bench to work, it was my serrated French knife, my
Uh-huh.
serrated slicer, and my offset spatula. I like offset rather than flat.
Yeah, if I
Those
said,
three. Calculators in my pocket along with the marker and the pen, right?
yeah,
Because
I like the
you always
offset. I like the offset. The offset is my
I
favorite.
do
The
too.
straight, the straight spatula is nothing you can do with it. I
I
like the
can't.
little no, unless it's the mini ones, the little bitty ones. I love
Yeah,
those.
yeah, I got a couple of those too
Yeah,
now, a little
I
bit.
love those.
But if I'm icing the cake or something, it's offset all the time,
Offset,
always.
offset all the way. Yes. Okay. So another, I just thought of another question. I'm gonna ask you this because you're a baker. So, or is it what is it called, the French petard, or you're old school roller pin?
Roll a pin.
Roller pin? Okay, 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 okay. Because that is a big difference. People like I got fancy. That's why I use the guitars. It's straight. If you don't know what that is, it's a straight. They're just straight. They look like dowels, and you just roll them,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
rolling with them. Those are French
I got
rolling.
two rolling pins in my house right now. The big heavy duty and the little bitty one for home. But I
Okay,
got
yeah.
most
Yeah,
both.
those yeah, they get pretty big and I see some a cute one today. I was like, what would I roll with something that big? What would I roll with something what would you happen to
Yeah.
roll? So are you dessert? What's your favorite dessert?
I like simple. You can give me a good pound cake, or you give me a nice brownie. I'm simple with that.
Okay.
I've made so many doggone desserts, but the food stuff, with all the different components. I When I eat a dessert, just give me,
So
and I
you
love a key lime
chocolate
pie.
or you chocolate or caramel or dairy?
Um, I like caramel. I don't like salted caramel. I like caramel.
I like okay.
Yeah.
I'm more of a I love caramel. I don't like chocolate. I really can do without it. But I'm a panna cotta, I'm a heavy cream, I'm a panna cotta, I'm a flan or a creme brulee. I don't care how you make it. I really don't care for I don't have to have a flan because the flan is just sometimes it's too wobbly. But if you give me a panna cotta, I'll tear it up. And creme brulee, these are all the same things. They're just different in different countries. They just make them differently.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
there's
So is
a
your panna cotta a yogurt base, or is your panna cotta a it's a yogurt base, or is it a cream and
Mine's a
gelatin,
cream.
all that?
Mine's a
Okay.
cream. I'm basically mine was like a cream unglaze that
Mhm.
we stabilized,
Okay.
with gelatin, and then that's why I make it. I've never made it with yogurt. I'm gonna have to try that because I've
Okay.
never made it that way. But that's my
Okay.
favorite, and people don't like it, but I'm into that kind of texture. I love that kind
No,
of
I
texture.
like panna cottas. And when
Yeah,
I see them, I can appreciate it. I
yeah, I
think they're
can
good.
appreciate.
But
I
I
really do like
just
it.
you just give me a good old pound cake. I guess maybe because my mother made a really good pound cake, and she had a caramel icing for her yellow cake. That was just people. If I knew what that recipe was to this day, I just remember being on that stove in a double boiler, stirring that condensed milk,
Oh,
and
okay,
and
okay.
whatever
So that's
else.
what she made her caramel from the condensed milk. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So do you? Did you become a baker because of your mom?
No, I think. No. 'Cause my mom was a good cook too,
Uh-huh.
but I think it was because of the person that I actually finally got to work with when I was in my apprenticeship program, David. That
Mhm.
he was because my pastry class at school, it was no, no, the school was just no. Well, for several reasons, but one of the main ones because I wasn't taught. The instructor was a French pastry chef from one of the local hotels, and his assistant who came because he didn't speak a lot of English came to translate. But the assistant, who was American, decided he wanted to speak English with a French accent because he wanted to be cute, I guess. I don't know. And they got busy at their hotel, so now all of a sudden they couldn't make it to class. And so the class was basically like we was, kids. We show up, wait 15 minutes. Oh no, instructor, you sign the sheet and we walk out. And that was it. So
Oh,
there were like
nah.
after
Oh,
about four or
nah.
five classes like that,
But yeah,
they
y'all
they
did the
were
apprenticeship program. See, when I went up there to El Centro, but the best baker I had was when I went to Johnson and Wells. It was a French chef, and he literally taught me to love fondant. I used to make that marshmallow fondant, but he taught me how to make the true fondant that was really good.
yeah,
I was in Denver and it was amazing. And I learned, and that's when I learned. I didn't want to be a baker because that class was an 8-hour class. It was cake
yeah,
decorating, and I was
yeah.
like, Lord, when you get me out this class, I'm not gonna ever take a class like this. Okay, and it was y'all. It was 8 hours. It was literally 4 hours of lecture, 4 hours of lab, and then we had full lab. Like we had to make a wedding cake. That was our
Mhm.
project. We had to make a 3 to 4 tier cake. It couldn't be, but it had to be able to stand up on its own. So it had to be to stand up on the ground, and it had to be these certain dimensions, and we had to make all these different icings. Like one had to be lace, one, and it was like, oh no. It was like every day for like 4 hours I'm playing with fondant. And then tomorrow I'm making the cakes and I'm setting them up, and then I'm coming doing the crumb coat because it took a long time. It was like
Yeah.
a 3 or 4 week project because
Okay, so I have never done a crumb coat. I have
yeah,
never.
we did a crumb
I
coat.
wasn't taught that, and in production, I wasn't taught that either. And I never put it into my repertoire as an executive pastry chef either. For me in production, when I got to sit there and I got to ice, 40 cakes to plate up for whatever the banquet is, that means I got to do twice the work. So you're gonna learn how to ice the cake once and be done with it.
Well,
That
see,
was
we
it.
did now that's the only thing we did differently. We did a crumb coat, but I mean, I
Mhm.
guess we would say we did a crumb coat, but some people did do the icing at one time because some people really
Yeah.
were bakers. Like people don't understand cake decorating. You don't learn decorating in color in baking class. You take an elective. That's what they consider an elective was
Okay.
you know what I'm saying was baking, was cake decorating. And so we
Okay.
did it. We did a little bit in class. We learned how to do like some things, but there is when we made the cakes that were like this high, and we literally had to have each layer had to have something on it. But we did a crumb coat, and after we did the crumb coat, the only thing they did differently was that we really iced the cake. And that we iced it right. We didn't put it in the freezer. We didn't put it chilly. We iced it right then and there. But he wanted the crumb coat because he
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that it's just kind of like our practice round so we don't have to remake a cake. So it was just like, it was good, and maybe because we were in school, but I was so tired. I mean, because you had to do a 3 tier cake. It's a lot of funding. It's a lot of
Did it?
buttercream.
So now you understand why you price a wedding cake the way you price a
Oh
wedding cake.
yeah, oh yeah. And then how many cakes we had to really truly make to make them stand up, and then we
Yeah.
had to put stuff in the layers. We made like cakes that people actually would really and truly he should have sold them to brides because they were beautiful cakes. They had different color fillings. We had to make the fillings. That's why I was like, if y'all ain't got no cake filling, y'all ain't got no raspberry jam in here. We gotta
Uh,
and that's when I was like, I appreciated it, and I still use some of those recipes today, but
mhm.
at the same time, yeah, I was over it. That's it for me. But I want you to do a thing for me. I don't know, maybe they still do it. ACF had the best baking books. N- N- Noble, I'm pretty sure I'm not pretty sure. God do not do
Noble
this.
Massey.
Yeah, he may be. I'm not saying is he still with Among Us? I
I,
think
I
so.
think he died.
That's what
His son his son is
I'm
down
gonna
in
say,
Miami. He's an
I'm
educator.
gonna say, Lord, don't strike me down because my mom, I do not want to kill people on this segment,
Because
Lord.
he
But
was in
I met
Hawaii.
him,
He was in Hawaii for a long time, but I believe he's passed on.
but
But
I
his
met
son
him
is
in
an
real.
educator down in Miami.
But I met him in real life, and I met him at a conference when I was really deep in ACF. I went to a national convention, and they were
Mhm.
teaching because he was teaching out his book because he did the last book that I have ACF baking is his book, and he wrote in there, and I still have it. And it's one of the best baking books ever. And I have the culinary book too, but I don't. But they stopped selling it. I'm guessing they stopped making their own books to use.
Well, ACF never made their own books. It
Well,
was always,
it was ACF. The book was ACF. It
yeah, but they
was.
never made it. It was published by, so the publisher would have been the one that went out, whatever. Not ACF. ACF never had the publishing.
Well, they never
You
had the
know,
publishing, but I mean, but it was their book. It was the
right,
ACF
right,
book
right.
that was published by.
Well, check it out online because I had to go. Somebody was asking me the other day about one of the books that I contributed to, and it's a culinary manual as well. But I didn't write the book, but I had to look it up. And
But
so,
that
like,
book is huge. Yeah, that book was
I
huge.
was in the fourth edition. They're on edition like 8 now. So how many years ago that was? You can't even get. So it was on eBay. This is when I found the one I contributed to. Right, book used
Because
to
I had
sell
to
for
go, yeah, I had
$50.
to go find Nobles because I had it forever, and it's probably in my mom's house in some kind of box or something that
Yeah,
I put up. But yeah, that was one of my favorite culinary books, but I can't find it. That's why I said I feel like ACF stopped making books or stopped contributing. It was their book because it was his
yeah.
book. It was his
Yeah,
book.
yeah. ACF used to have a store and
Yeah.
in the national in the office, and then they used to have then they went to an online store, and some things still are online, but they got rid of selling books.
Yeah, okay. That's why I said they got rid of selling books. And I think that their books were some of the best. I mean, I use On Baking now in Bouchon Bakery. I do Tim Keller, Thomas Keller's
Okay,
book. Yeah. So
okay.
I
Yeah, I
what
will definitely check online
yeah, I'll check
and
online.
Google that book.
But is there
Google it.
anything that you would tell your I always get off on my T questions. Is there anything you would tell your 16-year-old self that you what would you tell yourself? If you could meet her right now, what would you tell her?
That okay. So 16 for me was not a sweet year. So that was the
I
year I
mean,
said to
I
myself.
know it's not, but that's what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself that it gets better.
Uh-huh.
That as long as you open up and put yourself out there, like I said, the universe conspires when you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And so I had the mantra that I learned in Sunday school back in the day: if it is to be, it is up to me. And so I still had that written down on a plaque somewhere in the house. And so using that and sticking to that and believing that that you can make things happen, the power is actually within you, and not to sit back, because I can be an introvert and I can sit back all day long and watch and do, and I'm good in my house, but to be out there and put yourself out there, and to always step up, step in,
I think
step
that's
on.
a new thing for me too because I am very. People always see me because on Facebook like, oh my gosh, she everywhere, she doing all this, but really I'm a home buggy. I will stay at home.
Yeah,
COVID didn't bother me one bit. I can stay at home and entertain myself for days and
that
not
part.
need human contact. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to be more outgoing and doing those things. Like tonight, I'm going to this museum thing, birthday party, but I just feel like that I don't. That things happen when you're out. You got to be out you got to be in it. You can. I mean, it's cool to be at home. It's cool to be an introvert, but at the same time,
You gotta get
don't
out there.
you got to be out there. So I think that that's something. And I always say a time like me, my worst years was probably when I was 11 or probably 14. And if I look back and tell that girl, you're gonna be all right. You gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Them tears you shedding right now, you ain't gonna have to shed them too long. And so I always think that I look at pictures of myself in the house, and sometimes it gives me motivation, like, because that girl was still standing, and I know what she was going through in that picture. So I think that's
Hmm.
one question that I always tell people. Okay, so if you could go to dinner with someone, who would you go to dinner with, or where would you go?
So, like, romantically speaking, or
I don't know. Whatever mood you in, it's Friday. It's
I
Friday.
have a bunch of girls around the table. I want to sit down with Oprah, and I want to sit down with Michelle Obama, and I want to sit down with a couple of girlfriends,
Uh
and
huh.
I just want a little girl conversation and some self help and some inspirational conversations and things to happen to get motivated by,
So
you
what
know.
about you and what about Oprah? I always see Michelle Obama, but I haven't heard Oprah in a long time. Why would you want to eat snack with
But
Oprah?
she is Oprah's still Oprah. She's still
Yeah.
cool. She still has a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge, and she didn't get to where she is by accident, And so how does she maintain? She's not on TV every day, right? So she too has gone online, but she is producing. She's almost like like people look at Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry owns his production stuff. She owns her production stuff. She owns this, that, but she still built that school and she still is philanthropic, but she still also is into the acting and the producing and the,
And
she's got, and she
she has a
the book.
beautiful garden where she has her chefs
Oh my
cook.
God,
That garden is everything. I was like, girl, just let me go work it. Let me just work on that garden. Let me just,
okay, the house,
And she
give
has
you,
multiple chefs that cook for her.
mm-hmm.
She came down here for her favorite things, and I cooked for her at the Omni, and it was so weird because we cooked for her chef too. So weird. It's like, but this is your chef. And she
Yeah,
wants the simplest things, hot wings, and it was simple.
yeah,
I think that was the funny thing about when you cook for celebrities, people think you're cooking this amazing meal. They just want what everybody else eating.
that's it. They
That's
just
it.
got more money to spend for it.
I think that was
That's
the
it.
biggest aha I got when I was doing private chefing was like, you want what? And one of them
Yeah.
said, they make you sign that clause, that confidentiality clause. They clause you to death. But
Okay.
because you're the cook, you see everything. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
one
yeah.
asked me, can I have some sweet potatoes? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, the ones out the can. He was talking about sugary sand. I'm like, what? You hired me to go to the store to go buy you some sugary canned yams. And because
Okay.
that's what he grew up on. His mom, that's what he grew up on. And he said, nobody take. I'm like, yeah, because it got all that juice is sitting in sugar. Like, nobody, it's the
Yeah.
texture. But I mean, I think that's why I was wondering why you said Oprah. A lot of people will say Michelle Obama, and I get it. I get it totally from her. But I just want to go ask her, why did she change the school lunch and had them kids eating green beans? And that's when kids stopped eating school lunch and start eating chips. So I was just wondering,
Wow.
I get what her ideology about it, but I just wondered, what could there be a change in cafeteria workers where it could be more chef based? Because when I went to school, the guy who was over us was a chef, so we had great
Well, I
food.
think a lot of that though also is going to be money based,
Yeah.
and a lot of that has to do with the contracts that these school districts like sign with these people as far
Yeah.
as the food purveyors. They had certain things that they were structured to buy and that they were approved. Like all those the fried craziness and the breaded little McNuggets and the what all that stuff was pre-approved
But
because
if
of
you
price.
but I know you've been overseas and you've looked at like at France and they send their kids home for the day. They can go
Right.
eat. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying some of those things that we can incorporate here. Not
Oh,
saying the
I agree. I
kids
totally
can go
agree. It
home,
totally
but
needs to go
food can
home.
be food. Cool food can good food can be delicious. But I guess you do have to pay more work for the worker. You have to pay more for that. But I just
Yeah.
looked at, if you want them to eat healthier, you can't just slop out some green beans and call it, because ain't anybody gonna eat that,
I
So
mean, because I went to private school my seventh and eighth grade year in school, and
mhm.
and the food from that, and even though, so growing up, grade school, we walked home for lunch, right?
uh
So our schools were in our neighborhoods, and we walked home, so we got to eat lunch at home, and we got to cook our own food, even if it was Chef Boyardee, Campbell soup, grilled
Right.
cheese, whatever. We cooked our own food, and then we walked back to school. 'Cause it was only 5 blocks, and then we still had plenty of time to be on the playground playing, right? So we got, and we also had recess. See, so we got plenty of exercise and we got to cook our own food. And rare was it somebody with brown bag or the cafeteria at school. Because really would cook food for like maybe a fraction, small fraction of the class. Right. And so when I went to private school for my seventh, eighth grade year, it was all cafeteria because we weren't coming home. It was closed campus. We were not coming home. And it was too far of a walk because when we walked there, my mother had she was not
Now,
paying for
was
their
this in
bus
Chicago or what? Where was this?
in the suburbs of Chicago,
Okay.
suburbs. And so it was about a mile that my brother and I walked to the school. And so we would sometimes bring lunch, sometimes buy lunch at the cafeteria. But the food I did notice was totally different at that private school than it was at the public school because
Mm.
people were paying the money for it, even though as a child you paid every day, whatever. But the output was totally on another
Mm.
level. And then you get to
Mm.
high school level, public school, high school was where I went to, and it was just like wow, it was still closed campus, but you had a salad bar option, you had hot food, cold food, sandwiches, stuff already wrapped up so you wanted to take it and whatever, so you had just the choices were there, and if you got those choices and you give people healthy choices, and if the education really does start, I've done different seminars for children on that age group, Just introduce them to foods. And they didn't know what an avocado was. They didn't know what a tomatillo was. They didn't, things that we would take for granted, to introduce them what that is, and get them to eat the food, or what a fresh Brussels sprout looks like, how it actually grows on that stem like that. Had no clue. And so introducing those foods, vegetables, whatever, fresh foods to those children at that age, and getting them into it. But it's the parent,
Oh,
oh, I don't like that, so I'm not gonna cook it. Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest okra fan, and my husband wasn't either. And so, but the daughter, that's like her number one vegetable was okra. So we would give her okra, and we would make sure she never saw our face go like, oh my gosh, she's eating okra, because we didn't like it. She loved it, so we fed her the okra.
now you saying your
And
daughter?
you know, huh?
You saying your daughter?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't even know you had a daughter. I thought
Well,
you
that's
only had
where
a.
that baby came from. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
it came
yeah.
from your son.
No, oh no, he better not. No, he's not
Ah!
yours.
I thought it was your son. That's what I said. I thought it was your son. I didn't know it was a daughter. I didn't. I am a stalker and don't even know what I'm
And she's an
stalking.
educator. She's an educator. She was teaching special ed department head in pre-COVID, and then she left, and then COVID, and then had the baby. So the baby turns 2 next month,
Oh yeah,
February.
I saw that on Facebook. So I mean, but I just really definitely don't want to hold you because I know you have a big schedule and we have to cook together. Hopefully tomorrow or somewhere like that. But I do want to say, are there any tidbits you want to give to the next generation that chefs that are coming up?
It can be hard, but you got to find the passion and the reason why you want to cook. Why do you want to do this? Because the hours can be long, and,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be unforgiving, and you will give up some nights, and you will give up some holidays and some weekends. Things are changing and are better as more chefs and managers are more aware of that work life balance.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a lot of it's still on you, as asking the questions and showing up and being present. Wanting to learn and putting your best self there in that position. So you're not coming in, "Oh, okay, I'm here to work." Yeah, it's a job. We all have a job to do. But you got to really learn to like and love what it is you're doing. What we are doing is essential. We are essential workers.
Yep.
Um, we are professional grade, professional class of people.
Yes.
And we should treat this, our business of preparing food for anybody, be it the sick people, the infirm people who are just spending, $10 to feed the family, or people who are spending $500 on a meal of white tablecloth.
Right.
We are feeding people, and it's for some people, it is their only entertainment for the week, for that day. So the experience matters, and the food we put on the plate matters, and so the food we cook with should be that of love. It is us going out on that plate
And I think
representing us.
another thing is that we don't say it, but we are a story. You are a storyteller because
Hmm.
you are telling a story, and that is when they're eating and the food is orgasmic and amazing, and you are giving
Hmm.
them something. So I think that is amazing. But I think I have used enough of your time, so we get back to cooking. And I want to thank you again. I am here with the Madam President. As she always laughs, and I call her that. Chef Kim Brock Brown. Y'all, if you are a certified chef, you need to go. And even if you're not certified, go get your letters, go get your J, go get the patch, and go and vote for her to be in another term because she deserves it. She is amazing. She's been everywhere. I rock with her strong, real strong. So we hope to have her back here. I'm gonna try to do a podcast in New Orleans and get some juice up there and watch her in Magic, aka I'm gonna try to get in these big meetings with even though I'm a little person. So I will see you. I will see you next time, and thank you for joining and listening. All right, see you later.